Hello, and welcome to the Watchman segment of our program. You know, since 312 ACE, when Emperor Constantine decreed Christianity to be the legal religion of the Holy Roman Empire, the Europeans have fought many crusades to spread their religion worldwide. The most notable crusade of the last millennium was the taking of the New World from the Russians, that nut Christopher Columbus called Indians. Since then, these Protestants have bought Hebrew slaves, fought against Europe for independence, and they fought a civil war among its own people. And since 1914, the Christians have united to fight World War I, World War II, and recently the Christians of the USA and her mother Europe have united to set democracy in the Middle East. However, Christian democracy is designed to change the cultures of the world to Christian values of a Gentile-type paganism. But let me read a piece of scripture in the book of Daniel and see what Daniel had to say about this fourth empire here. This is Daniel 7, and I'm going to read verse 7. It says, "After this I saw in the night vision, and behold, a fourth empire, dreadful and terrible and strong exceedingly. It had great iron teeth. It devoured and broke in pieces and stamped the residue with the feet of it, and it was different from all the beasts that was before it, and it had 10 kings that would come up among them." Now, this fourth empire is different in that it would use religion as a catalyst to conquer the whole earth. Now, I'd like to read something else to you that was said by John the Revelator pertaining to this same empire that fell in 476 ACE. A lot of people don't study history, so we don't get back and find out about these different empires, so that when you read the symbolism in the Holy Bible, you know what's being said. I'm going to read something to you about this fourth beast in Revelation chapter 13, and I'm going to pick this up at verse 1. It says, "And I stood upon the sands of the sea, and I saw an empire rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy." Well, the 7 heads are the 7 rulers that ruled the 4 empires that came up on the earth from 606 BC, with the Caesars being the 7th heads, and the 10 horns are 10 kings that came up to try to revive the Holy Roman Empire that fell in 476 AD. And incidentally, when the Roman Empire fell, they divided among everyone but our people. Why? Because the nation, because of who we are, and because the nations are set on destroying our seed. Verse 2, "And the beast which I saw was like a leopard, and his feet was the feet of a bear, and his mouth the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority." Well, the leopard was Alexander the Great, which refers to the swiftness that he conquered the earth. And the bear, we know that Russia is still called the bear. They came up in 539 with the Medo-Persian Empire. And then the mouth of the lion was Nebuchadnezzar. "And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority. And I saw one of his heads as if it was wounded to death, and the deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast." Now, Rome fell, like I said before, Rome fell in 476 AD, and here we see that the Europeans are putting the EU together, which is the revived Holy Roman Empire that fell in 476 AD. Verse 4, "And they worshipped the dragon, which gave power unto the empire, and they worshipped the king, saying, Who is like unto this beast, and who is able to make war with him? And there was given him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 3.5 years," which incidentally is the great tribulation period that's going to come upon our people once Lucifer is thrown out of heaven. Verse 6, "And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against Elohim, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle, and them that dwell in heaven. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints, and to overcome them. And power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. And all that dwell on the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the Lamb's book of life, slain from the foundation of the world. If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that kills with the sword must be killed with the sword. Now, what that was referring to is the political empire that they're putting together. Everybody's talking about the New World Order. Well, this is the New World Order that's coming up on the earth. The problem is America can't be a part of it. Now, that was political Babylon. Now, let me read something to you about ecclesiastical Babylon, or the Christian church. This is Revelation 17. And I'm going to read verse 8 through verse 14. The beast that thou sawest was and is not, shall ascend out of the bottom of this pit and go in perdition. And they that dwell on the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the Lamb's book of life, slain from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was and is not, and yet is. And here's the mind that has wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the whore sits. And we know that Rome sits upon 7 hills. Now I'm going to go back over to verse 1, chapter 17 and verse 1. It says, and there came one of the 7 angels which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying, Come hither, I will show you the judgment of the great whore that sits upon many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So he carried me away in the spirit in the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. In other words, she was in control of political Babylon. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of the filthiness of her abomination. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints, and with the blood of the martyrs of Yeshua. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. Now I'm going back over and pick this up at verse 11. It says, And the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th and is of the 7th, and goeth into perdition. And the 10 horns which you saw are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power 1 hour as kings with the beast. These have one mind, and she give their power and strength unto the empire. These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is Lord of lords and King of kings, and they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful. So as we see, this empire is gearing up to fight the Messiah when he returned. Now understand now, this is the power of the Christian church that the Europeans set up. We just follow stuff because it's convenient. Now I'm going to go into chapter 19 and read what's going to happen to this beast once the Messiah, this empire, once the Messiah returns back to the earth. I'm going to pick this up at Revelations 19 and verse 19. And I saw the empire and the kings of the earth and their armies gathered together to make war with him that sat upon the horse and against his army. And the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet that walked miracles before him, with which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast, and them that worship his image. These both, 2 people, were cast alive into the lake of fire burning with brimstone. And the remnant was slain with the sword of him that sat upon the horse, which the sword proceeded out of his mouth, and all the fowls were filled with their flesh. Now, when we consider the rise of the EU, the Europeans are reviving the so-called Holy Roman Empire, which fell in 476 AD. The goal of Lucifer's last empire is not only to destroy the Hebrews, our people, our chosen people that was chosen by Yahweh, our Elohim, but the empire is gearing up to fight Yeshua at his return. Although we fill their churches every first day of the week, although we've tried to integrate and live as these heathen Gentiles live and worship their Jesus, today Our males are being destroyed and incarcerated in alarming numbers. Our families are being destroyed. 68% of our families have one parent families, one parent in the household. That's because the chosen people of the Almighty have learned the ways of these heathens. Lucifer is using these heathens to destroy our people. But let me go and read some things to you that Yahweh warned us of pertaining to this last empire and all the other empires that were set upon the earth. I'm going into prophet Isaiah, Isaiah chapter 8, and I'm going to start this at verse 9. It says, associate yourselves, O you people, and you shall be broken in pieces. Give ear, all you far countries. Gird yourself, and you shall be broken in pieces. Gird yourself, and you shall be broken in pieces. Now he's talking mainly to this last empire that's coming up on the earth that these good Christian folks is putting together right now, that the Bible say is going to fight the Messiah when he returns. Verse 10. Take counsel together, and it shall come to naught. Speak the word, and it shall not stand, for Elohim is with us. For Yahweh spoke thus to me with a strong hand, and instructed me that I should not walk in the way of this people, saying, say you not a confederacy to all them to whom this people shall say a confederacy. Neither fear ye their fears, nor be afraid. Sanctify Yahweh of hosts himself, and let him be your fear, and let him be your dread. And he shall be for a sanctuary, but for a stone of stumbling, and for a rock of offense to both the houses of Israel, for a gin and a snare to the inhabitants of Jerusalem. And many among them shall stumble and fall, and be broken, and be snared, and be taken. And we can see that today. We can see that today. Anything these Euro-Gentiles come up with, our people, especially with religion, our people are quick to join it and go to West Germany with it. Verse 14. And he shall be for a sanctuary, but for a stone of stumbling, and for a rock of offense to both the houses of Israel, for a gin and a snare to the inhabitants of Jerusalem. And many among them shall stumble and fall, and be broken, and be taken, and be snared. Bind up the testimony, seal the law among my disciples. And I will wait upon Yahweh that hides his face from the house of Jacob, and I will look for him. Behold, I and the children whom Yahweh have given me are for signs and wonders in Israel, from Yahweh of hosts that dwells in Mount Zion. And when they shall say unto you, seek unto them that have a familiar spirit, and to wizards that peep and that mutter, should not a people seek unto their God, for the living to the dead, to the law and to the testimony? If they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them. And they shall pass through it, hardly be stead and hungry. And it shall come to pass that when they shall be hungry, they shall fret themselves, and curse their king and their God, and look up. And they shall look upon the earth, and behold trouble and darkness, dimness of anguish, and they shall be driven into darkness. Nevertheless, the dimness should not be as it was in her vexation, when at first he lightly afflicted the land of Zebulun and the land of Naphtali, and afterward did more grievously afflict her by the way of the sea beyond Jordan in Galilee of the Gentiles. The people that sat in darkness have seen a great light. They that dwell in the land of the shadow of death, upon them has the light shine. And truly, today we are in the land of the shadow of death. And if you read the King Alpha plan on the internet, it's REX 84. If you read that plan, they tell you systematically how they plan on destroying our people when the economic revolution come down. Verse 3. You have multiplied the nations and not increased the joy. They joy before you according to the joy of harvest, and as men rejoice when they divide the spoil. For you have broken the yoke of his burden, and the staff of his shoulder, the rod of the oppressor, as in the day of Midian. For every battle of the warrior is with confused noise and garments rolled in blood. But this shall be with burning and fuels of fire. And when you read Ezekiel 39th chapter, that is the what's going to take place at the war of Armageddon. Ezekiel 39 and Joel 2, and then you can go back and pick it up at Zechariah chapter 12 up through chapter 8 rather, up through chapter 14. Isaiah 9 and verse 6. For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government shall be on his shoulders, and his name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, the Mighty Elohim, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. Of the increase of his government and peace there shall be no end upon the throne of David, and upon his kingdom, to order it and to establish it with judgment and with justice from henceforth even forevermore. The zeal of Yahweh of hosts shall perform this. Yahweh has sent a word into Jacob, and it has lighted on Israel. This is the reason why you hear the things that you hear coming from the house of Israel, especially from the culture center of the New Covenant Congregation of Israel. We are Yahweh's chosen people, and we are set in the earth to bring forth the fruit that will to make them ready for the return of the Messiah. Yahweh told Abraham we'd be here 400 years, and we're right at the end of that 400 years, which is ending at the 2,520 years that the Gentiles was given in Daniel chapter 2 to rule the earth. So be careful. Read your book, and like Christ said, watch. When you begin to see these things come about, look up, because your redemption is near, right at the doors. My name is Yaakov ben Israel, and I'm the elder priest of the Culture Center of the New Covenant Congregation of Israel. We're located at 3901A Covington Highway in Decatur, Georgia. Our website is THENCCI.com. Check our website and come and see what you can come up with. We try to do a pretty good website for you to give you knowledge and understanding, so you can read your scripture and understand that we haven't got long to stay here in this place of our captivity. Our fathers was brought over here slaves, but if you read Isaiah 66, you'll see that Yahweh is going to redeem our people and bring us back to the earth. And you couple Isaiah 66 with Micah chapter 4 and Isaiah chapter 2. Peace. Yahweh be with you all.